Live streaming
organization if payrolls don't work. Otherwise, we're going to keep losing talents and stuff. And so, and I'm so sorry also because Mamoon, instead of seeing this and stepping up to what I was asking him, he took it the wrong way, thinking that I was trying to, I don't know what. It's just ridiculous. And he also got completely corrupted. So now Joyce, I think she understood it. Me, after the session yesterday, I'm going to get on top of so many things that got back in my system. But yes, I mean, it's really, I think that it's a good signal for the whole team, right? We're closing the month. We're doing this work. So yeah, great. Yeah, thank you, Jay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly capable of doing all the payrolls on my own and like.
Yeah, me too, right? But it's not about us. Yeah.
For example, I did it when we had our client. We had a 40-person payroll that was $100,000 a month, and everything was done on time every month easily. It was like not even a question, right? So for me, it's just like, why should I go out of my way when I'm not getting paid, when I'm paying other people to do the work, and then they just don't do it and they don't prioritize it? So it's like, I don't see it as my problem at all. It's like if it was my assignment and I was assigned to do it, it would happen on time every month, exactly on track. Boom, boom, boom. It's payroll.
Yeah, Jay.
Right?
I mean, if you wanted, you could make everything happen.
Payroll, not difficult. Yeah. Everybody's here to support you. I will help as well. It just needs to get done, and just people just don't prioritize it. It doesn't happen. So it's like, you know, of course it's not going to happen on time if no one prioritizes and does the work. So I mean, that's the reality of the situation. Anyone could easily do it. They just choose not to.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, obviously, I know that if you wanted, you could do everything. But the point is, as you always say, it's not about us. It's about who comes after us. It's about the team. So for me, it was a very big wake-up call because I really put a lot of effort in trying to make Mamoon step up. And I also said why he was increasing his budget, because I said, look, Mamoon, if you want to increase the budget, so you change. You remember I also told you that I had this conversation with him that let's try Mamoon to FQM become your full-time. So I was really counting a lot of him. And it was such a big wake-up call, combined with all that's happening. That's the whole system is coming back, and I feel so passionate again. But in general, instead of him really stepping up, he got corrupted. So for me, it was a very big wake-up call. And that, unfortunately, now Joyce seems to be very, very she really seems to be wanting to take this on. Mott as well, so we see. I mean, but it was a very big wake-up call, and I think this is a good signal for the whole team that with all that happened with this latest budget, especially in payrolls, that we managed to close the month and the week with the signal that we're running this based up from payroll. Yeah, but in general, yes.
Just we're on the same page in relationship to Mamoon. He should be getting paid more than Joyce. Is that correct?
With his new pop?
No, with this payroll.
Yeah, this payroll. What happened is that since I didn't check this, and but anyways, I couldn't go back. But we said, you remember when we talked, we said, all right, let's lower his base pay hours, but let's leave him his equity hours, because we cannot, and he's not available to have a discussion on it. We're so late on payroll. So I said, all right, we're going to keep the equity hours, but we're going to lower your base pay. But what happens is that with the adjustments for minimum wage, in the end, instead of being $60 less, it was only $20, because he got $33 of adjustment due to the minimum wage, because he had so many total hours, right? 50.75. Yeah, but what can we do? But personally, I need clarification from Mamoon. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm very confused about the whole situation, because.
Okay, so that's a yes. It's correct, right?
Yeah, it's correct because he has a $33 adjustment due to minimum wage. If you go
Whoops.
if you go into the calculations, you can see that after the compromise, we said, all right, instead of 35, I wanted to say 20, but also with the situation with his mom, I said, all right, 25. He said, okay. He should have gotten only $100, but then due to the minimum wage, he got $34 more per policy. It's something that I didn't forecast. But I think it's fine because Mamoon, in the end, after, I don't know if you saw, he said sorry to me because I really talked so much with him, right? And as you say, it's our responsibility because we need to expect this from the people. If we leave them too much, I mean, he got corrupted. He got corrupted so much, and it's just so clear, right? So, but I mean, we see. For sure, I'm gonna propose. I'm
I
gonna
don't
make
really
a
understand what
propose.
the corrupting is. Like you say that a lot, that he got corrupted. I mean, I don't really understand that part of it. I mean, obviously he made mistakes and he
Yeah, but
supposedly fixed them, but you know,
I got corrupted because I was the only one reviewing the base up from payrolls, and obviously we were so concentrated on SVG, and also, it's not a lot of money from a moon, so I didn't really review in detail as I used to do it, right? So he, I look back and he definitely inflated his tracking hours also for the previous month, but he did it gradually. He
okay,
saw that. Yeah.
but the question is, did he reduce his hours?
Yeah, the base pay, yes, we reduced it from 35 to 25. But we left him
Okay,
the equity, the total hours. We left it as he tracked
I
because
know. So, but do you think that he inflated his hours?
for me it's obvious, but I need from him to say it, to admit it. He needs to admit it, take
Okay, but
responsibility.
for me, it's just like it's not. It's like, let's make sure it's clear what it is that we're saying, because like just saying that Mamoon is corrupted is very generalized and is not specific enough for me, right? So there's two things that could have happened. One, that he inflated his upfront hours with responsibilities that he was not assigned, and he put in that time and he tried to get paid for it upfront, and it just wasn't applicable to the work he was assigned to do, which is fine. So we removed that and we fixed the mistake, and now it's fixed, right? The other thing is that he's tracking hours that he didn't actually do, and if that's not fixed, that's a problem. Do you see? Those are two totally separate things.
Yeah, exactly. He inflated his working hours. He created hours that didn't exist,
The
right?
question is, did he fix it or not?
No, it didn't get fixed
Why?
because we offered him the. I mean, we didn't manage to have the contentious. That then he's having all these problems at home, so we needed to move forward. So after we talked, I said, all right, let's do this for this time. We're gonna leave you the equity hours because it's impossible to actually. If he says no, I did those hours, and I say no, you didn't. It's possible to right to say who's right, like we said, right. So, but he accepted to lower his base pay. He apologized, but it's obvious that he inflated his hours. It's obvious because he was justifying communications for payrolls that take maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and go into payroll responsibilities. He was tracking half an hour every time into documentation. And
Okay,
so,
so the next question is, did he fix? Did everything get fixed in relationship to the upfront pay?
yes.
So, and that's what
Yes.
we're doing now, and we're taking care of them. This is the base upfront pay.
Yes. There's a from pay.
Okay, and so then the next would be the token based pay, and then we would do bonus upfront pay. So it seems to me like this can be addressed in both token based token pay as well as base up bonus pay, right? So
Yeah, exactly. As you said.
so anyway, so we can fix it at that point when we go over it with him, and and address it, and just do this exactly the same thing where you propose, okay, this looks like it was over. We want to try to get a compromise. We can't get a compromise. The team votes on it, and then it's done. Does that make sense? Like it's a very specific process that we go through, and
Yeah, exactly.
there shouldn't be emotion. It shouldn't be like a whole bunch of like conflict or tension or anything like that. It's just we just go through the process, and the outcome is whatever the team votes on, and then we move on. And because it's like it's not a lot of money. Well, it's no money at all. It's all equity, right? And it's just like making sure everyone's on the same page. If the compromise doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does happen, it does happen. But there's no reason to spend a lot of time on it. We should just move forward based on our process, because if we don't, it's corrupt either way. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the more time we spend on it, because we like either way, either side you're on it, it's corrupt to push something outside of the context of the policies. Anything that goes
Exactly.
outside
The
of the
policy will
policies
take
would be
care of this.
corruption.
Yes.
As soon as one person starts going into a direction towards corruption, it's very easy to wrap everybody else into it, even if they're trying to go away from it and not do it, because sometimes pushing back too hard is just as corrupt as because in
Yes,
essence the
exactly.
opposite of corruption is balance and harmony, right? You want everything to be balanced and like neutral and then fluid, right? Whereas you can corrupt things both directions, right? You can corrupt things by being way too intense and like attacking people who are doing something that may or may not be bad. And you can also corrupt things going the other way, where you try to be all secret and do things against the organization or against society that is to benefit yourself. Both of those are corrupt actions, right? Because you're falling into the same trap.
Yeah, exactly. Mamoon doesn't understand that our system is so advanced that exactly this time. I don't know if you noticed, but you remember how I addressed similar situation in the past. This time, as soon as he was lying to me, I said, "All right, Mamoon, let's stop here. I need to bring it up to the team," and I try to follow policies, because policies are king and policies are going to take care. Because now, after all we said, especially yesterday, for example, now with the budget work, that I'm taking back 100%. I'm gonna propose an option with the cutting, deactivating Mamoon. And anyways, yes, I mean policies are gonna take care. Our system takes care of all the situation, and this situation in this case, the systems immediately identifies them. So, and he didn't understand this. He didn't understand this, that he's in something so much bigger that he cannot. I don't know. I mean, I'm really, but exactly like you said, let's follow policies. Our system.
Yeah, it's like the policies are there to address the system and address the situation. By exaggerating the policies on the other side, by saying, by preemptively projecting what may or may happen in the future. For example, like, Mamoon's in big trouble, and he's like gonna feel the wrath, and he's corrupt, and all these things. That is not following the policies, right? Because the policies are that we treat everybody equally regardless, and we just go through the process, and either we come to compromise or we vote on it as a team, and then it just escalates up the system, and eventually it could get there, but until we're there, we're not there. And the more that you're pushing it and you're talking about it, and the more that you're basically, it's a manipulation of the decision-making process, because you're putting it in everyone else's head that this is what is supposed to happen, without the actual data and without the actual voting of empowering each individual with their own information so they can make their own decision. Do you see what I'm saying in terms of it goes both directions?
No, yes, absolutely. But I'm also pushing it, because by pushing it, we are improving the system. Like the improvement to the responsibility organized that we did, because of this, was amazing, right? So, that's why.
Let me just give you an example with Ate. Ate is a very powerful woman, right?
Yeah.
And if you say something, you cross Ate, she's gonna let you know. You know what I mean?
Don't tell me.
And so, like, look, if you just casually say, "Oh yeah, Ate lied on this thing," and she's gonna freak out. It's gonna be a huge issue, right? So it's a cultural thing. You don't say, "Oh, this person is lying," and You say exactly what they said that was not correct information, and you say what they should have said and what is going on and what the difference is, and you present that. That's how you do it in a professional way under our policies, right? Just randomly saying people are lying and that people are corrupted. It's like it's good for you to put out your opinion, but it's not following the policies. Our policies are very specific.
Exactly.
Like if you think someone's lying, you don't tell the team that, oh, this person's lying, there's this huge problem and everyone's lying. That's not going to do anything, and it's against policy, and it doesn't help anything.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
say, this is what the person said. I don't think this is correct information, and I think that it's potentially manipulative and potentially, this is what he should have said, and then this would be the difference. And I think it's like, this is a big, huge concern. But you give the actual data so that people can review what was said or the perception of what was said, and then make their own conclusions whether or not someone else lied or didn't lie. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm just making sure that, these words that you're kind of saying casually can cause big, contentious issues when you're not even trying to do it completely on the other side, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of overcompensating for something that Mamoon may or may not have done, and it can actually make the situation more corrupt on both sides. Like you can get corruption on both sides. Corruption doesn't only happen because someone is doing something bad. Corruption can also happen when somebody is saying that someone else did something that they may or may not have done, because it's very easy to do that and to convince people that something may or may not have happened that we just don't even know. Does that make sense?
Oh, Jay, yes. Makes so much sense. Yeah. And
So I'm just trying to bring you, I'm trying to ground you.
Yes, I didn't see it this way. Yes. You're so correct. Yeah.
And then, it goes both ways, that it's like there's another example, which is, I'm forgetting the word, but hype is an example. But like, somebody does something and it gets everybody all like worked up, right? And if you just buy into that, even if you don't agree with it, but you get very, let's say you push against it, you're going into what they are, and this happens all the time with coercion techniques, especially in politics and in big corrupt government systems, where they purposely push false information for the entire purpose of getting reactions, because the reactions are controlling people to lose their own power, and they're actually trying to prevent something they think is bad, but actually it's just all a false representation to push them in a way that they would actually look bad themselves and actually trip up on themselves, as opposed to everyone just focusing on the policies and focusing on what they need to do for improving the system, right?
Jay, yes. Yes.
So you don't want to fall into someone else's trap. And I'm not saying Mamoon's making a trap. I'm just saying that, like, we
but
spent
you're
a long
right.
time on it. We could spend hundreds of more hours on this if you go down that rabbit hole. And does it actually serve the organization and serve the policies and serve us moving forward to transform the world, or does it just serve our own needs to prove Mamoon wrong, or whatever we're trying to prove for ourselves?
That's not our goal. That's not our goal at all. Our goal is to follow the policies and let the system work. Yeah.
The transfer cannot be clear. So you cannot process the transfer with your selected payout option. To show again. So I got an error notification on Joyce. So this is not done. That's weird. So I got an error. Why did we get this error? Weird. Back. So just like any decision, whenever you make a decision, it's all about where are we now, right? And you're presenting the information of where are we now, understanding how we got here and what are the options for moving forward. And that's all you need to focus on to make the decision, the best decision that you can now to move forward to the next step. And then once you get to the next step, then you can look at your next options, and so forth and so forth, right? By moving 5-10 steps ahead of what may or may not happen in the future, you're not focusing on actually what's going on now,
Yeah.
So we want to focus with Mamoon on exactly what happened and what's going on now, which is like, what did he say? How many, like exactly the same thing you did for the upfront pay hours, do it for the equity hours. So this is how many hours he logged. This is how many hours we think he worked. This is the difference, and this is the difference in equity value. And then you would present that to the team, and then everybody would be able to get a better idea of it, and Mamoon could respond, and it's just exactly the same process. Okay.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
that gets present in terms of what's actually going on, and then based on that, multiple different trajectories can happen depending on how Mamoon responds and how the team responds and what the compromises are or the decisions that are then made based on the proposals. And then eventually it works up the ladder to more and more complicated situations depending on the outcome. All right, so let me try to look at the history. It says it didn't actually process. Okay, let's try again. So this is for Joyce. So we're doing the 1, 2, 3, 7, 4. 1, 2, 3, 7. By the way, I can't stand Western Union. It's like the worst.
The what?
There's nothing. Western Union.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we'll do Western Union anytime. I mean, it's not a big deal. It just always has problems. This is not received. Okay, so the 299 is correct. All right, and then this is approved. Okay, let's try it again. Send.
Right. So.
Oh, yeah, it worked that time. Okay.
Jay, I need a minute very quickly. I'll be right back.
Yeah, fine.
Hey, Jay, I'm here. Sorry.
All right. I tried to do the Rakana and I got an error as well. So I just don't know what's going on. These errors. So my question on Ate is if that includes any of the maternity leave.
No, this is before the maternity leave. She went in maternity leave from the 26 month, so this is still normal.
I'm trying again. Never had a problem with Wakana before. I don't know. Oh, there, it went that time. Okay. So weird that it's not working first time around. I wonder if the same thing will happen with World Remit. So do you think we need to pay all of the decision makers now, or should we do that on Monday, or what? Just get it over with?
I don't know if should if we can do it now. I would definitely do it now. Yes.
Okay, the biggest problem I've been having with the decision makers is getting it set up on my phone. It just doesn't work for some reason. I don't know why. I just can't get my Upwork. I can't log into my Upwork account on my phone, but luckily I can still log in on my computer. So I have it open right now. So let's just do it. All right. So I think. Oh no. Yeah, it's just every time it's not working. Same thing.
What Upwork is not working?
No, World Remit this time. Don't understand why it's not working. But everyone usually works the second time. Yeah, it looks like this is the time it's working. Yeah, it worked. That's good. So yeah, the fee is 0 again. It's very nice that there's no fee for pay on World Remit. All right.
Yeah,
Certainly beats
my Workana as well went down 5%.
Your Rakana what?
It's only 5% now.
No, it's actually gone down. That's good, right?
Yeah, it's already sometime.
And are you doing
Uh,
real time, are you doing the real time
yeah, yeah, I am.
payroll update?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So this is all Upwork. Upwork.
Are we proposing to get rid of Nadine?
No, she already got deactivated. Yes.
So Nadine is deactivated?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can deactivate her then.
Yeah.
And that's Nadine, right?
Nadine. Nadine. Yes.
Okay. So I need to do weird. Give bonus. View original proposals. View original job posting. Nadine's profile. Request refund. Rehiring. Give feedback. Pause contract. Request contract conversion. End contract. Okay. So we're ending contract for Nadine. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna update also the NRT server. It's a shame also because Nadine was from her curriculum. She was really cool.
Yeah,
But
I'm just
maybe,
gonna say that she did great. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to give her bad scores. You know.
no, exactly. It's bad because maybe she didn't get engaged enough and she dropped the ball, because she was really very strong curriculum.
Yeah, maybe she was too professional.
Yeah, maybe she'll come back.
Yeah, maybe she'll come back to you. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But sometimes people are like a little too professional or like beyond, like, 'cause I mean, we're grassroots community, bottom up organization, and it's always going to be a little messy. It's like never going to be perfectly clean.
Yeah, but maybe she'll come back.
Yeah, it's possible. We do have 12 unread messages
What?
on Upwork. There's 12 unread messages on Upwork.
Yeah, we need to get back on the recruitment. But we're gonna get back. I mean, for me, yesterday was really a milestone. We also improved a lot today the onboarding documents and everything. We updated the onboarding verification spreadsheet. So we talked about
Yeah, but
training.
be sure to post all of that on Discord and make sure we can review it all. And I feel like it's just, I mean, I want to make sure our onboarding system is clear and focused on the specific priorities and responsibilities that need to get trained, for SVG.
Yeah, we need to create. I was thinking about taking maybe the activity team training and like adjusting it to SVG could be like like as a template, right? I mean, something that's coming back is going to be back. It's good. It's very good.
I got Alice. Now Chima.
Amazing. But anyways, in general, the decision makers, it was also. I mean, also what happened with this budget. It was so cool to see the 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 HR board in
Is Angela?
Angie's Angela. Yes.
Okay, I think it's important to make sure we have the names correct for the payments.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're so right, Jay. I didn't. I was blinded by my side, but yeah, I got corrupted as well completely.
That's the danger of the whole corruption process, is that, it's blaming and just like casting blame and attacking is just as corrupt as doing the action itself, outside of a actual process, because like that's how they rope you all in, and then
Yeah,
everybody gets consumed with it, and then it's like then it worked, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole goal of the corruption, is to get everyone consumed with it, not, you know, just the people who are actually initiating it and starting it. In terms of like, let's just take Angela as an example, right?
Right.
So Angela is getting $15, and that is for what? What's she getting $15 for?
For 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours. Okay. And so what exactly do they track? Like, did they really spend 1.5 hours? I mean, I guess this last month there was multiple
Well,
voting rounds. Maybe it's easier, but how do we know that they did 1.5 hours?
no, that's the month before because they voted on the budget. We said that they can track 1.5 hours if they vote, right? So they're for
No,
that.
absolutely not.
I mean, for the
No,
responsibility,
you don't get paid at all if you don't vote.
she did vote. Yeah.
No, but if they spend 2 minutes voting, they track 15 minutes, or like, you know, they averaged to 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever they did. They don't say they worked an hour and a half. Like, that's not how we function.
Yeah, but for them is you remember we you can go back also to the training video we have on how they track their hours, the decision makers. They have a responsibility that they can track the 1.5 hours. For that responsibility, the requirement that we gave them is that they vote. For the
Or
rest,
they don't.
yes,
Yeah, if you don't vote, you don't get paid, right? Of course.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Nadine
but
is zero because
you
yeah.
can't only vote for literally, like I could vote in 30 seconds. I can go on, vote in 30 seconds, and then be done with voting. You get paid for 30 seconds. That's what you did. Like, you don't do nothing. Of course not.
Well, Jay, we have the training video, and it was very clear from us that for them they have this specific. For the other responsibilities, yes, it's about the time. But for the responsibility of the budget vote, they we told them that they can track 1.5 hours every time they vote on the budget, because we presume that before voting they read the budget or whatever, they do some research. But for that specific responsibility, we were very clear. For them, they can track.
That's the issue. That's a big issue, because that's just, there is no responsibility that somehow has different rules than any other responsibility. Like, every single responsibility is always exactly the same with every other responsibility. We've never created a special responsibility that you don't have to actually do anything and you get paid anyways. Like, that doesn't exist.
No, I
You know,
mean,
so I mean, we can look at this video and like try to see what this interpretation or this perception that you don't actually have to do any work and you still get paid. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So for me, that, for example, let's say you spend 5 hours, you come to sessions, you talk to the budget, you schedule a buddy team to talk about the budget, you ask 10 questions on Discord, and you, like, you know, process it, and you give your opinion, you know, and you say your concerns and all that kind of stuff, and then you don't vote, you don't get paid. I don't care, you put 5 hours in, you're not getting paid for your 1.5 hours if you don't vote. You're required to vote. That's what that means. Right? You can't just vote for 30 seconds and get paid for an hour and a half and not do any of the work, right? The work is to, you know, when you have a concern, you say your concern. You know, when you have a question, you ask a question, you do your research, you schedule a session, you come to the budget session, you do whatever is required to make informed decisions. That's the work. That's what you're getting paid for. Right? The voting has nothing to do with the work. It's just like, you're not going to get paid if you do not vote. You don't get paid no matter how much time you put in. You're required to vote, of course. If you want to get paid, you're required to vote. That's the policy. Does that make sense?
yeah, it's perfectly makes sense, and for but for the decision makers, we trying to get the video.
Okay, well, anyways, that's an issue. Like, for me, my assumption would be that if Angela's getting paid for $15 to do an hour and a half of work, that she actually did an hour and a half of work, just like anybody else who's getting paid to do an hour and a half of work. That is just obvious, which means that if we're paying Alice, Chima, Abubakar, and Angela all an hour and a half of work, that should be 6 hours of work that the decision makers did to get paid. I mean, this is a lot of money. We're paying $100 and something. Like, we could hire another full team member, right, for the money that we're paying them every month, right? Because it all like the budget for the decision makers is significant. It's not nothing, right?
No, no, I agree with you, but I mean that we need to make clarity on that for sure.
Sure, but making clarity on it is one thing. Like, to say that we're having to change the policy is another thing, right? Like, you're basically saying the policy is that they don't have to do any work and they get paid anyways for voting for 30 seconds. Like, I disagree with that. I don't ever remember.
Well, it's not that because we presume that they take the time to get informed, right? So we cannot really know. So we just said, if you vote, we take granted that you took the time to make an informed decision, and we
no, they have to say that they did that. There's no like assumption. If they tell us that they did the work, then we assume that they did. If they don't tell us they did the work, we assume that they didn't unless we verify it. Does that make sense? Like, the voting has nothing to do with it. Like, if they vote, we do not assume that they spent an hour and a half, ever. Right? If they tell us, yes, I spent an hour and a half doing all the work for this month's budget because it was very complicated and I had a lot of questions and I needed to follow up and read like 3 different email chains or whatever it needs to be done. If they tell us that, then we obviously assume that that's what they did. Right? But if they don't tell us that, we assume exactly the opposite, that they didn't do that because they didn't tell us that they spent an hour and a half. Do you see what I'm saying?
I found a video, Jay. You want to give a quick look at it? It's
well,
line
let me just
23.
Yeah. I'm almost done. So let me just finish these payments and then
we'll take a look at the video. Let me find
it doesn't matter what the video says. The first thing that matters is what is the policy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It does make sense. And now I'll be confused because with the decision makers, it was a whole new thing. So we should make clarity. Absolutely. So a lot of things are different.
Is Shinedum, right?
Yeah, Shinedum. Shinedum.
Yeah. So I mean, what I think the policy is. So can we write this down? What we think the policy is?
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you, the policy is what I'm hearing from you, right? Let's like note down here.
But it's just for the decision makers.
My perception of Alberto's understanding of the policy is that just for decision makers, if you vote, you automatically get 1.5 hours of pay, regardless if you spent more than 30 seconds on voting, right?
Yeah, but on just this responsibility.
Yeah, just for this responsibility for the decision making, right? Decision making on HR board vote, right?
Yeah, HR board is called. Yeah.
So for me, my understanding, so Jay's understanding of the policy is that just like any policy, you track your hours and you start at 15 minutes and then average to the closest, 30 minutes. So that would be like, 15, 30, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, right? Those would be the expected amounts. Anytime you go over 1.5 hours, then you would put, I guess in this case, you would average between 1.75, you would put 2 hours, right? 2 hours, then 2.5 hours, 3 hours, et cetera, right? You put the amount of time that you work, right? If you put in 5 hours, or any time over 1.5 hours, and you do not vote, you cannot count those hours for pay because you did not complete deliverables. Okay, that's my understanding of the policy regarding this. So basically, it's just like any other tracking of hours or any other responsibility. There's no difference except that they're required to vote because they're decision makers, right? That's their assignment. They are assigned to vote, right? If they vote for 30 seconds on the voting form and that's it, and they can track 15 minutes of ballot, right? Because they could just round 30 seconds up to 15 minutes, and that still is under policy. It's a little bit weird. I don't know if I would do that myself. I think if I spent 30 seconds on something, I probably just wouldn't track it, right?
Yeah, the estimates by the end of the month, or these things, you make an estimate. Like what I do, I don't track every minute or thing. At the end of the month, I say, all right,
You
how
just
much
estimate.
communication? Yeah, I say 30 minutes more to generate work. In this
But what we're paying them for is not the voting. The voting technically takes 30 seconds. We're paying them for the communication and the knowledge and dealing with issues and problems that come up and actually contributing to the decision making is not voting. Decision making is communication, right? That's what decision making is. It's communication. So that's what we're paying for them for, right? And somebody who's putting in the time to learn what's going on should get paid more than someone who spends 30 seconds. And so for me, I have no problem assuming that everybody put in their time. What I do have a problem with is the idea that every single worker is working the exact same amount of time every single month, month after month after month. That doesn't make any sense to me, which is the only reason why I'm even like questioning this, because I'm like, okay, wait a second, is every worker doing exactly the same amount of time and there's no difference here? So anyways, I just think that we should review real quick. But anyways, let me try to get this finished get the payments finished, because if I don't do that, then it's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna find quickly the piece of the video where we're saying that.
okay, if you can mute, that would actually be helpful.
Yeah, I linked that in our notes, and I'm gonna try to find quickly the part that's interesting, because the video is quite long.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so long; it's 15 minutes. But all right, I'm gonna mute myself so I can watch the video. All right.
All right, I finished all of the payments.
Right. Perfect. All right. Perfect. Getting the fees.
Did you want to share your screen, or should I link the?
Yeah. I mean, it's the video is linked, and the part starts at 4 minutes and 50 seconds. On
Forgot to share.
line 23. Line 23.
Okay, line 23. Okay, but which frame are we watching?
Starting from 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Before you talk about the other two responsibilities, the recruitment and the general and anything, and 4 minutes and 50 seconds, you start talking about the HR board responsibilities. So this is the training you did to Alice, how to track her hours.
So right here, we're making it clear that you're tracking your hours, and that if you do more than an hour and a half, you track more than an hour and a half of hours. If you do less than an hour and a half, you track less than an hour and a half of hours. Right? Right?
Yeah,
You're still there?
yeah, I'm here. I didn't know if it was the video or you. I don't hear the audio of the video.
Say what?
I don't hear the audio of the video.
Weird. I don't know why. Right? So for the HR board, which is the actual decision making, so at this time, everyone's assigned just one single. Again, like everything that I'm listening to here, it's very clear that the policy is that you track all of your hours that you work in FQN, which would imply obviously that if you're not working, that you would not track those hours. Like, why would we go to all of that emphasis to say all those things if you're not supposed to track your hours? You know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Now
look, watching.
when it gets interesting. Yeah. Let's see. I'm watching as well.
Once per month, you're voting on the HR board budget. So it's the monthly budget vote and discussion. If you spent anything less than 15 minutes, so let's say you only spent like 5 minutes, you just opened up the voting form. Right. If you're also going to watch this video, you should probably mute, because I definitely can hear you listening to it.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna mute. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm on minute 535. Whoops. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm on minute 5:38. Yes.
535, and it specifically says something like, quote, if you spend 5 minutes voting and
15 minutes.
round up to 0.25 hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just don't understand what exactly you're talking about. I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, If you spend 5 minutes on it, that's fine to round up to 15 minutes. That's fine. You spend 20 minutes on it, you can round up to 30 minutes. If you spend
Yeah.
you round up to an hour, right? And it's all perfectly fine. But you don't do 5 minutes and do an hour and a half. Like, absolutely not. That's crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would like to see where I got confused, because this is definitely my mistake here. Then maybe for the moment, yeah, it's aligned to what you were saying. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, if my understanding of the policy is correct, and unless someone can prove otherwise, it seems like that's the policy, right? Because that's the policy for every other responsibility, right? It's fine if they're tracking an hour and a half, but it's like, what do they do, right? It's like, what do they do for an hour and a half? And
Yeah.
what it's not even really that I care about the hour and a half. It's that if everybody's following the policies, it would be almost impossible for everyone in the decision makers to track exactly an hour and a half every single month, month after month after month. Right? That's just how does that happen? Like, how can you spend exactly 1.2 hours to 1.6 hours every single, or 1.3 to 1.6 hours every single month, everybody, right? So to track 1.5 hours, so 1.5 hours would require 1.3 to 1.6 hours of work, right?
Yeah. I'm getting worried here. So can we just try to finish the video quickly and see
I mean,
when,
I don't see any reason to watch any more of the video. I don't.
because I remember clearly there was at one point, because here you're saying, hey, if you work, but if you give me, maybe we can take 5 minute break. I watched it quickly, and I'm
I
getting back to you.
definitely don't want to take a break, but I'll watch a little bit more of the video and we can see
Yeah.
what it says. Okay,
Great.
watch a little more of the video.
Okay. All right, Jake.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, my mistake. My mistake.
Yeah, because I mean, if this is what you're telling the decision makers, it's just like, are you telling the decision makers that they can just track the hour and a half as long as they vote and that's all that matters? Like, I mean, is that being communicated to them?
Well, it definitely happened to me that, I mean, I never had any. The only decision maker that I talked to was Alice when she came to the session, so I never communicated.
And I've been seeing you write that. I've never seen that written. So, let's just, I mean, for me, let's just assume that we have in no way asked them to do that, So for me, if I can do it if you want, but what I would recommend you to do if you're willing to do this, otherwise I can do it, is just simple
No,
Discord
no,
message
it's my
that
mistake.
says we're going through our payroll and we're simply requesting to confirm everybody's been putting an hour and a half on their work, just to know that this is actually happening. And then we can make it clear that with Moon and other workers, we've been having a lot of issues and people over tracking their hours and things like that. And so we are doing a review of everybody.
Yes.
We just want to confirm that you guys understand the policies, that if you spend 5 minutes voting, that would be 25 minutes or 15 minutes of work, right? That you round up to 15 minutes, but you don't round up to an hour and a half. Like, it's like, if you want to get more information about the budget, you can. I do want to mention that, obviously we are dropping the ball related to the onboarding process and setting up their training. system.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
And you know, I don't know exactly what we want to do with that, but the bottom line is that, you know, we were going to spend 15 minutes putting together a document or a spreadsheet that basically listed the trainings that they're supposed to have that are the top priorities, and then they would just start going through them on their own time, little by little, over the course of many months. And we just never did that. We never prioritized it. It never happened. So, I mean, I feel like we need to create a model that empowers them. So it's basically, if they want to schedule to work on their training, they can do that. And we can just start with scheduling with them. So they're all invited to schedule or attend sessions and prioritize their training. And that it would start with them prioritizing their own training. So anyways, those are the things that I would put into the message. Do you want me to just do that real quick, or did you want to do it, or what?
No, I would like to. I would like to do that. It's my mistake, and I'm seeing that.
But what is the mistake? I don't
gave,
understand what the mistake is. Because all I'm hearing is that you're telling me that you think that you thought that